every year we get to this day, and you and I both have a similar connection to Thanksgiving. So let me ask you once again, what does Thanksgiving mean to you?
Thanksgiving is an opportunity to stop and give thanks and be grateful. First of all, from a health perspective, when you're grateful, when you feel thankful, you activate your parasympathetic nervous system, right? We talked about that so many times. Activating the parasympathetic nervous system is one of the most important things you could do for health and longevity. That's where your body heals, that's where it rests, that's where it digests food, that's where your thyroid works more effectively, your immune system works more effectively. Everything works more effectively under the parasympathetic, under the action of the parasympathetic nervous system. Gratitude, saying grace, feeling grateful, being thankful, being loving, all of these activate the parasympathetic nervous system. And then secondly, and this is really interesting, no matter how bad things are, and we have a negative bias, our brains are designed to see the bad. No matter how bad things are, there's way more good that's happening than bad. Even if you're on your deathbed with stage 4 cancer and your body's falling apart, there are way more things going right with your body than going wrong. So at any given moment, there's countless exponential orders of magnitude times more good things and more correct things and more orderly things happening than wrong things and distressing things and chaotic things happening. So it just makes sense. It's just logical to try to focus on what's going right rather than what's going wrong. There's more of what's going right than what's going wrong anyway, and you're a lot healthier, you're a lot stronger when you focus on what's going right. Look, at any given moment, you got plenty of air to breathe. You've got your eyes working, your fingers, for most of us, your eyes are working, your fingers are working, your ears are working, your brain is working. You can talk to people, you can communicate, you've got a roof on your head, you've got a warm bed to sleep in, you've got warm clothes that you're wearing, for most of us. There are, of course, there's exceptions in the world, there's people who suffer in the world, but for most of us, we have everything we need at any given moment to be successfully alive. And that's what we want to focus on. It doesn't mean that you're not going to go out and try to be better and do better and be healthier and be stronger and be happier. Yeah, you can do that, but in this moment right now, Jonty, everything is working as it should, and it's something that we can focus on and be thankful and grateful for, not only because it's true, but also because we're better off when we do that.
Well, today I insisted that we all hop in the car. I got my family, my 2 daughters and my wife, and we drove down to the beach. And it's just the beach. We live by the beach. We found a little spot there that was a little bit protected from the surf, kind of behind some rocks. And it was my wife and I standing there in the sunshine, and these 2 beautiful little girls jumping around in the waves, laughing, giggling, and running back and forth. And so there's the parasympathetic nervous system, but at the same time, there's so much more. That's a physical explanation, and it's totally valid, and it's important for people to realize that our bodies are built this way. Our bodies are built to actuate, to come alive when full of joy or full of meaning. And what's more beautiful than than a grandparent hugging a grandchild?
Yeah, if you could tap into that feeling when you hugged your child or grandchild, just for that moment that you hug that child, or even pet a dog, or even look at a baby. That moment, that single moment, there is oxytocin flowing through your bloodstream, there's serotonin flowing through your bloodstream, your cortisol is lowered. When people come home from Iraq or Afghanistan with PTSD, what do? They give them a dog to pet, right? There are so many ways, there's so many little things that we can do to activate the parasympathetic nervous system, from helping somebody who's needy, to petting a dog, to feeling happy and thankful and grateful for what you have in your life. It seems tragic to me that we're focusing on the negative stuff so much. Not only that, but it's more than tragic. It's manipulative and it's almost evil that we're immersed in the negativity. We're swimming in the negativity. If you're going to interact with the culture, it's almost impossible to avoid the negativity. You can't watch TV. You can't watch the news. You can't go watch movies. You can't
so
read
sinister.
the newspaper without being saturated with negativity.
The weddings where half the family doesn't get invited, the grandparents who have never hugged their grandchildren. These things are real tragedies. But I want to ask you, Ben, this Thanksgiving, what are you most
Am I
thankful
thankful for?
Yeah, what comes to mind?
I mean, it's impossible to even begin all the stuff that I have to be thankful for. My health, number one. I am so thankful for my health, and I don't know what's around the corner, but I know today I'm healthy. I'm so thankful for that. The support I have for the work that I do, I'm thankful for that. My ability, my resources, the resources I have that I've accumulated, that I've been given, that allow me to do the work that I do. My insight, the stuff that I see in the world, my ability to take the information in the world and come up with truths, to induce theories and truths from all the things that I see.
Certainly meant a lot to me in that regard, and I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful for your insight. It's meant a lot to me.
Many I appreciate that. That's meaningful to me. But the most important thing, and I think the thing that I hope I don't, and I don't ever want to, but so many of us take for granted, is our health. You don't appreciate your body until something goes wrong.
Yeah.
Right? You don't appreciate your digestive system until all of a sudden, God forbid, something goes wrong with it. You don't appreciate your heart until something, God forbid, goes wrong with it. You don't appreciate your vision or your neurology, the way your brain works, until, God forbid, you lose your vision or dementia or you have a movement disorder. So I don't think anything else, all the other things I have to be grateful for, and I have a lot, they all pale in comparison to being thankful for being healthy. And everybody who's out there listening, if you're healthy, even to the extent that you're healthy, if you're not completely healthy, to the extent that you're healthy, that is something that's super valuable and super important that you can be thankful for in this Thanksgiving.
I'm really grateful that even though there is adversity in our world and there's some difficult things, I'm grateful that I've found myself in a position where I can make a positive difference.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Always, always, always make a positive difference. If we live our life, if every human being lived their life that way, imagine what a wonderful planet we could have. If everybody was a giver, not a take, gave more than they took, put in more than they took out, and had that same focus of attention, like you just said, is to somehow contribute something good and make the world a better place. Imagine what Earth could be like.
Some of that's our journey, our life journey, and how we can affect that. And anyone can get out of a crappy situation in some ways. Die Denken sind frei was the song. What was that German philosopher who was locked in prison and he said, if I can think, I'm still free. So you can make amazing things out of a horrid situation. We have that ability, but I don't lay that on anyone. A lot of us just get screwed in life and we get put in a little corner, and we're in people have had much more difficult lives than me, and I've been really quite blessed. The amount of abuse that I've dealt with compared to many other humans is marginal. I've really been blessed in a lot of ways, but there's also the nature of the circumstance. I was involved with a political movement in the late 90s, early 2000s. And I remember going to a demonstration in Washington, D.C. and meeting with these folks. And it was like for 4 days, we were all operating at a much higher orbital than normal. We were thinking, we were talking, we would just meet people on a bus. You sit on the bus and you sit there and you do your little, and you drive the place, and then you get there and you get off. We would get on the bus and we would make eye contact with everyone on the bus. And then we would end up in these conversations.
What was the political movement?
The International Monetary Fund and the World Bank were doing some very shady things with regards to loans to mostly poor African nations. Also, some stuff in South America as well, where they would trap countries in debt.
Did you ever read Confessions of an Economic Hitman?
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That guy. Yeah.
John Perkins.
Okay, right. No, I
Not
didn't
for
read it, but I know a lot about it. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. You nailed
he wrote 3 books on it. He was an economic hitman. He was the guy who told people you either going to play ball or you're going to die in a helicopter crash.
And the folks that were opposed to that were very meaningful friends and some wonderful relationships and an experience that I'm still grateful for. But I also noticed that you put people in a circumstance wherein they're doing something that really means a lot to them, and they absolutely transform. Their whole biology is different, you know, and in psychology as well, of course. So to live like that, to the extent to which we can, you know, don't let the mundane get you down.
Keep your eye on the prize.
Yeah, keep your eye on the prize. Oh, good phrase.
Keep your eye on the prize, and look at the big picture. The big picture is really beautiful. Life is so beautiful. You know, for most people, no matter how bad their life is, not everybody certainly, but for most people, if you stuck a gun in their face and said, "I'm going to kill you right now," they would beg for their life.
Absolutely.
Right?
And look at a blade
no
of
how
grass.
bad it was, they would say, "I want to be alive. I want to be here."
Look at a blade of grass or a leaf, you know. I mean, I'm lucky where I live, man. I don't live in a concrete jungle by a long shot. But I can go out in the yard and I can stand underneath the apple tree and I can look at some plants, and we're really part of a miracle. It's the most amazing thing.
It's pretty darn amazing. I was talking to a friend of mine today about that whole idea that we live in this kind of psychedelic art museum, like living art. Like
right.
They have that Madame Tussauds wax museum. It's like a wax museum, except it's alive. Everything is alive and vibrating, right? And you're in this thing. It's really an amazing experience. I don't know if you heard of all the talk about the metaverse lately, right?
Oh, because of Facebook's rebranding?
Right, all the metaverse. But forget Facebook. Not Facebook. The concept of a metaverse where you enter into this world and you have all of these different kinds of inputs that allow you to fly and to do all kinds of different things, you know. But we're really in a kind of metaverse now.
Yeah.
You know, this is kind of like this high-tech simulation kind of thing that whether you believe in the simulation hypothesis or not, it really is a simulation because it's all being simulated in your brain. You're taking information from out here and you're synthesizing it. You're creating this incredible living world where everything vibrates and everything is electronic and everything is conscious. And sometimes for people who do psychedelic drugs or who do certain substances, they actually see the vibration. They see the livingness of everything. And they report back on it. I've never done some of these substances, but I've read about them. And they talk about how everything is alive and everything is vibrating with color and with energy. And we live in this world. We're not attuned to it, perhaps, but that's the reality. We live in this colorful psychedelic universe that we can appreciate at that level anytime we want.
Well, it is worth noting that a lot of people have had those experiences without the substances.
It's true.
In the various religious traditions.
That's absolutely true.
Actually, you know who comes to mind? I don't remember the guy's name. There was some saint, and there were about 20 eyewitnesses that swore to this. That this one saint came into a church and he saw the crucifixion, the statue of the crucifixion, and he was overcome with such religious passion in the moment that he lifted 20 feet off the ground and floated up to it.
Okay.
And it's recorded by all of these, if you want to be a saint, you got to go through this whole process where they vet you and they do a bunch of interviews and stuff. So they swore that this actually happened. It's one of those funny things. But Ben, maybe for different reasons, not necessarily exactly within that dogma, at some point in time I might just start flying around. You cool with that?
Okay, that'd be good. Maybe we can do a video on that.
Maybe this Thanksgiving, we'll see. I don't know.
All right.
It depends what we put on the turkey. I'm grateful for you, man, and
thank you. I'm grateful for you as well. Thank you for what you're doing.
So much so for our critical health news community as well. We're
you're doing
so glad
great work
to have
with
all
that,
these people
Jonty.
with us. Amazing folks.
Thank you.